everybody, I am Julia AnchorHaven and this is my full disclosure diary episode 10, and in this series what I'm doing is being very clear and very honest and open with you about things that I'm experiencing, like targeting or memory recall or just generally healing for people who are in the experiences starseed spiritual community. So I started this diary in kind of July, or August, yeah, January, August, I think, because I was going through some really deep healing. And it started off by acknowledging that I had a trauma bond with somebody in the Super Soldier program. And once I kind of had opened that up, I was able to do the healing for both me and that person. But then it kind of started an empowerment journey for August, moving into September. And I've had a few experiences this week where I have integrated like another 2 altars. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that process, but I'm going to go back to the beginning. So if you are new to this kind of level where you're realizing that you're a multidimensional being, you're realizing that the memories that you have or things that you've seen psychically just don't make sense, they don't fit into this lifetime, and you're starting to realize maybe you are a targeted individual, maybe there's things in your life that are outside of your control because you're doing everything right but your life is still not good. Or you've been told by somebody that, you know, they see you in space, they've got memories of you, or you've got you know, military abduction memories and things like that. So if you're right at the beginning and you're thinking, well, where do I go, what do I do, who do I talk to, especially if you don't have any money, it's quite tricky when you first start out to find and to afford those top level sessions with people like the ACIO, and others that are out there to get that information that you think that you can trust or resonates with you. The first place to start, generally, what I've done is I've put a page on my website at anchorhaven.co.uk/debrief. Okay, so this debrief page is a free kind of signpost on my website for anybody who's having memories and unexplained experiences that they just can't fit into their day-to-day life. So just know that you are not alone, that this is a journey of remembrance, and the information you seek is actually held collectively. It's not just your information. Other people have pieces of your puzzle, and that's why it's important for our community to band together. It's not always going to be easy to get that information because it's all held in trauma and wounding, so that you might find that there's people that you know, you recognize them but they're kind of not ready to see you, or for them that information hasn't been unlocked yet. Because on my personal journey I started to get kind of space memories coming in a couple of years ago, but the person I was working with at the time didn't have the context of why I would be getting that memory, so that just left me feeling very confused. Why would I see myself on Orion? Why would it be a scientist in a lab with a gigantic super soldier next to me flicking my conscious back and forth? It just didn't make any sense. And then I was told things like, well, you were in the Orion Wars, and I was thinking, I have no idea what that even means. So if you're at the very beginning, just know that this journey of uncovering your memories, finding out who you truly are, it's not a linear journey. It's not something where you can go step by step by step. You will find information comes to you in bits and bobs, in conversations or videos that you watch, or something that you read might spark something. And this journey of discovery is not bound by time space. Okay, so you're going to find that you are not bound by time space. So there's versions of me in other contexts of reality right now who are older and younger than me at the same time. Yeah, there's versions of me in this reality right now who are different ages at the same time. So that sounds outrageous, and it takes a while to kind of understand. Not only are you a creator being, but you're a multi-dimensional being. There's many versions of you at the same time. Some of it is organic and you have chosen to do that, and some of it is nefarious where you've been split off. So we'll come back to that. So, but just knowing that you're multidimensional is the first step. Knowing that you're a fractal of that source energy, that prime creator galaxy, or that mother, father, God energy, and that you've got memories and abilities that you might not be aware of that are coveted by dark forces. Okay, so I'm a targeted individual, and I only kind of really settled into understanding what that meant in the last year or so. And before, I just really thought my life was difficult, and it was it wasn't good. The childhood was traumatic or uncomfortable. There's blocks in my memory from childhood, so what was going on, who knows. And then nothing ever worked out, nothing was ever successful, nothing was ever abundant. My life was just mundane, and I thought that was really normal. So it wasn't until last year, I think, when I started to realize what targeting looked like for me. And for me, it was pain in the body, it was getting hit by direct energy weapons, it was getting mind wiped, it was being monitored by handlers from other countries, it was having cloaked things outside my home and birds smashing into them, and letting me know that there's something there, which I talk about in another video, I think. So, or it's getting voice to skull messaging coming in, and voices waking me up in the night. Whose voices are these? So discovering that you're targeted and that you're multidimensional, this is the first step, yeah? And getting comfortable with that idea as well, because it's not easy, doesn't make sense, people around you will not understand. So it takes a while to find the right people that you can have those conversations with that will not think you're crazy. And that's one of the reasons why I'm putting the debrief page on my website at anchorhaven.co.uk. So you can always just book in for an introduction session with me. We can do a 15-minute chat to see what makes sense. Then if you want to go deeper, you can book in with me and David Purcell for an empowered session. So when David and I get together, our energies both amplify, and we're able to use our psychic abilities, our psionics, to help support you in your memories, to make sense, give a bit of context and things like that. So David is really good at things like that, and we can look into your body and see if there's if there's anything there that needs to be released or whatever. So but the first start is the debrief page or other things that you find that out there. So when we go through the steps, and just know that I've put this page there to kind of dedicate to people who are starting out, because a lot of my work, my mystical wellness pathway work, is for beginners who are discovering that they just don't really fit in anywhere anymore. They used to love to do things that mystical and magical, then life got in the way, they got married and had kids, and they lost some of their identity. So generally I work with people who are finding their pathway again, their pathway into healing and into joy and things like that. But as I've progressed into the disclosure community and realized that there's so much more about me that I'm starting to uncover now, and it's multidimensional, it's in lots of government programs and space programs and stuff like that. I'm starting to realize there is actually a need, just like I did. So I've spent thousands of pounds in the last 2 years connecting with people or doing courses that I thought might help me, having one-to-one sessions with people to uncover information, to get context with my memories, to work with other psionics and stuff like that. I spent a lot of money kind of trying to find my place and find out who I am, and I have always felt like I'm trying to catch up, but that's always going to be there. Okay, that kind of thing is always going to be there. In the just general spiritual community, I call it riding the back of an effing unicorn. It's what I call it. So sometimes you'll go to retreats or courses, and there's always these people having these amazing experiences, and you're thinking, when's it my turn? When will I get that kind of clarity? When will I go jetting off into space through my stellar gateway chakra and all those kind of things? Take your time. It comes. It really does. Yeah, it really does. But we've got to start at the beginning. We've got to go back to basics first. And the reason to do that is because your body is not currently in a place of safety and security. You're not going to be grounded and ready to start uncovering these kind of informations, okay? A lot of the information is based in trauma. That's how they mind fracture you. It's from literal trauma-based mind control, okay? That's how they make altered personalities and aspects. It's trauma-based mind control. So at some point in time, you will have had terrible abuse, and you'll have been made to do really awful things, and you'll have been broken as a person. So when you start to recover, okay, am I in the secret space program, am I a military abductee, it's all grounded in trauma. Can't stress that enough. So there's nothing cool about it, there's nothing exciting about it, it's grounded in trauma. So there might be an aspect of, wow, well, that's great to know I was a super soldier, but to get there, that process is grounded in trauma over and over again. If you died, you get regenerated over and over again. Okay, so when we start looking into the disclosure of who you truly are, please be ready to know that this is not an easy journey. Making that very clear, okay? This is not an easy journey. Some people seem to breeze through it, but I guarantee you in their behind the scenes, when they're alone, they're going to be crying, they're going to be doubting, right? Because this is trauma, okay? Now, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a trained mental health professional. I'm a holistic practitioner. That's generally what I do. You know, I'm a Reiki master teacher and things like that. So I do work with energy. That's my abilities, is to work with energy. I run retreats, I do courses, I teach, but I'm just starting to expand out into this debrief to help people because I've been through it. So what I'm sharing with you is my personal experiences, my personal point of view. Now, you might not agree and it might not make sense, and that's absolutely fine. You just go with what makes sense to you. So when we start with step 1, in my debrief page on my website, it's journaling. And I've been told by people, and somebody even said to me a couple of years ago, why can't you just sit down with yourself and journal? Why can't you just sit down and do the inner work? And I couldn't because I was scared. I was afraid. It didn't make sense. I had no idea what was going to come out. But journaling, writing down what you remember, is important. And if you're not doing the journaling, you're hindering your progress. Full stop. Okay, so when I do journaling, I also work with a pendulum, and I use my pendulum to ask questions to get clarity, and that helps me stay focused while I'm journaling. So I'm not just writing out loads of random things. So you want to start thinking about, what do you remember from this life that doesn't really fit in? You know, are there things from dreams that seem very real? Write it all down. Have you got skills and talents that you do not remember learning, but you've always been good at them? Okay, so we start off thinking about questions and exploring topics, themes, right? So asking those questions: do I have memories? Do I recall? Do I have recall that doesn't make sense with the life I'm living now? Write it down. Do I have skills that I'm super good at, like I'm a crack shot or whatever, and I don't remember doing the training for that, but I've just always been obsessed with firearms. I go to the range and I'm amazing at it because it's muscle memory? Okay, write these things down. Are you drawn to certain places around the globe? You're fascinated by certain places and you don't know why. Are you drawn to certain people? It could even be movie stars. Are you drawn to people in our community, and you look at them, you know there's a soul connection? That's really important. Okay, are you drawn to specific movies or TV shows, and you just get this feeling that you've seen yourself in those environments, or you know what they're going to say before they say it, or it's just really familiar? Maybe you've had dreams about that TV show or movie. And are you good at general activities that people would not expect you to be good at? Or do you use words that, you know, where did I ever learn that wording from and stuff? Yeah. So when it comes to people, we have a soul resonance. The ones of us that have been connected by trauma, connected in, you know, maybe it was Atlantean times, you had lifetimes together, or Lemuria, there'll be a soul flame connection there. But if you were bonded in trauma in these programs, these Monarch and Kruger, this Montauk and Umbrella, whatever it is, Phoenix, there will be a trauma bond there between you, and you'll see that person, and either you're going to be really drawn to them, or you're going to despise them, or just know that there's something off with that person, right? Either way, there's still a bond there. Okay, so just write everything down. And then we're going to start to use questions, like I do with my pendulum, to open up your energetic field. Okay, so I start asking the question, okay, this is the memory I've got, so what else is possible with this memory? How does it get any better than what I'm remembering? What could this mean to me? And just write down anything and everything that comes forward. Okay, ask a question like, what's my true name? What's my soul name? Who am I really? Yeah, write it all down, and then have a look at what you've got on the page and see if there's something that you want to research into, something that wants to go deeper. So I had an experience the other day when a personality, an altar, was coming forward, and my friend asked the question while I was in like a trance of, what's your favorite color? And the word that came out wasn't an English word. It was a different word. And when we did the research into it, it was the same word as the old demigods. The word was Asura. And so like Lord Shiva was some type of Asura, and he was blue. So we started to relate that particular wording to the color of the gods. Yeah, so that's when like the azure kind of wording would come from. But the word that we got wasn't that. It was a different word that was matched to Sanskrit. So I actually said a Sanskrit word. I do not speak Sanskrit, and it's not the first time that's happened to me with the Sanskrit. Okay, so this is the first step of stopping what you're doing, making time to sit and journal and write down. Okay, and it doesn't have to make sense. I'm getting a lot of targeting on this already. It does not. I'm like getting like a big wave of energy. It does not have to make sense. Just write it all down and keep a note of where you're putting all this stuff as well, because you'll lose it. Okay, back it up. Make sure you've got extra copies, because you'll lose it. It happens to me all the time. I have 3 notebooks on the go at any one time, and I can turn around and they'll all be gone. Okay, because I've got self-defeating alters. So there's versions of me within me that don't want me to uncover this message, this research, whatever. So there's things that work against us, and we'll come back to that. So step 2 on my debrief page at anchorhaven.co.uk/debrief is energy hygiene. And this is the most important step right now when you're starting out, is to put lifestyle practices in. So as a Reiki master teacher, I talk about Reiki lifestyle, and that's like a dedicated routine to doing your healing practice, like grounding, centering, protecting, and healing. Yeah, so commit to an energy management routine of meditation and healing. And any meditation is better than no meditation. So 2 minutes here and there is better than nothing, because when you start to get into that relaxed state, there is no time or space. Okay, so the impact on your body could be a lot greater than you realize. You can also do dynamic meditation, so running, swimming, whatever you do that allows your mind to kind of wander, yeah, and get away from the day-to-day. It could be washing the dishes, it could be some repetitive task that you're doing. That's absolutely fine, as long as you're doing something that allows your mind to wander, to bring your body back into balance. So when we do Reiki, we bring our hands into Gasho, into prayer position, but what we're actually doing is we're uniting both sides of the body, yeah, and the brain. So the left is the feminine side body, the right is the masculine side body, just like the brain, when you're bringing it into unison. So however you bring your hands together is up to you. Just take time every day to bring your hands together, okay? Plus you're activating all of your meridian energy centers when you do that, which is the super highways of the body. So it's going to start a process. That's why we do a lot of clapping, okay? So any meditation, whatever works for you, something that allows your mind to clear, relax, and for you to get that clarity come in. So the goal is to bring your body back into balance, okay? Now, as a targeted individual, and there's information at the bottom of the page of what that might mean, but there's lots of other information out there. So I've just put some examples on to start you off so that you can go and do your own research. As a TI, a targeted individual, it is likely that you will have health conditions. Okay, it's likely that your finances will be disrupted. It's likely that you will have mental health issues or perceived mental health issues. That's quite important, because a lot of us get hit by you know, MK Ultra type programming, that voice to skull technology, the V2K, and just know that when things are going on in your head, only 5% of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are running through your head are yours. Okay, so I'm an access consciousness practitioner, and these are the premises we work on. So we open up with questions. So when something random comes in, we ask, who does this belong to? Now, if that thought dissipates and goes, you'll know it's collective consciousness you've tuned into. If it stays and it just sounds like your normal voice, then it's generally you. If it's repeatedly looping and if something feels off, it's likely that is targeting, yeah? I've been in a field in the middle of nowhere in a tent, and I've had male voices coming at me and saying mean, terrible things. Then these are never good voices. These are always mean words, okay? Targeting is not about saying you're amazing. It's about saying you're awful. Why did you do that? You know, I had a thing in my 20s that I realize now was targeting. And I had a voice in my head that said, if you can see it, it won't happen. Now, I'm quite visual at times, but this shut down my visuals to the point of I'd be scared to see a positive outcome because it meant I was jinxing myself, is what I was led to believe by the V2K. So this voice, which sounded like my voice as well, okay, was telling me if you can visualize it, it won't happen. And we know that's not true. We know that if we can see it, if we can put that energy out there, we can make it happen because we're creative beings. We can do that. But I was led into this kind of mindset of, oh, no, I can see it. I can see it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I was self-sabotaging because of this outside influence coming in. It was absolutely insane. But now I look back, I'm nearly 50, I look back 30 years and see, geez, that was targeting. Why didn't I recognize it? Yeah, because we don't always recognize it. Just like when you're living with a partner who's abusive, you don't always recognize it. Just like when you start on some kind of maybe substance abuse, you don't always recognize that you're getting into that situation until it's too late. And it's the same as a targeted individual. There might be some things that you're just so accustomed to having in your life that you've taken for granted that that's not how things are meant to be. And that's how my life was. Yeah. So when we start with energy hygiene, we're talking about grounding, and energy hygiene are daily practices. Just as much as you would feed yourself, water yourself, have a shower, this energy hygiene is a daily practice, okay? Doesn't have to take long. It can be 5 minutes. It can be a thought. It can be an action. Daily grounding and protection. Now, most people that I teach who are starting in their spirituality, we start with grounding roots, okay? The root chakra, we think of that red energy of the root, and red is safety. The root chakra being red is about safety. Red is not danger, it is safety. I wonder why we've got that idea in our head. So I work with red jasper energy, but you can work with any crystal energy or just the intention of putting down really strong roots from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet, pushing through the levels and layers of the earth, going deeper and deeper and deeper. Now you have an extra grounding chakra under your feet, about 2 feet below, called the Earth Star chakra. And this is like an ancestral chakra. You can actually expand it out. It's not a spinning wheel like the others. You can expand it out to make a 4-foot wide platform or whatever you want to do. But once you start to activate and work with your Earth Star, it will bring all of your other chakras into alignment so you've got a good energy flow. Okay, so we can anchor down into the core of the earth, or you can anchor into a crystal, whatever you want to do. But when we're grounded, we can send energy down to release, and we can call energy up to fulfill the body. Yeah, so we are walking trees, basically. That's what we are. And we need to remember to connect our roots down into the mycelial network, down into Mother Earth, so that you can replenish yourself. Okay, so grounding, centering, protecting, centering, taking deep breaths and centering to your heart or your solar plexus, kind of calming your energies in, protecting, thinking about your auric field, your aura bodies, your subtle bodies, imagining that there's golden shielding around it, imagining that it's thick, it's strong, scanning your auric field and looking for holes and tears, and then sending golden light energy in to repair. Okay, so strengthening our defenses. Your aura is your first line of defense. These are your subtle bodies, so you're so much bigger than you realize. But I'm hoping if you're watching this video, you already know that. Okay, so we start with daily grounding protection, and this is a routine, morning and night if you can, or just whenever you can. Yeah, if you are feeling unsafe, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling dizzy, if you're physically tripping over things, if you're stumbling over your words, if you just feel really off, you are not grounded. It's as simple as that. And if you're not grounded, chances are you're not going to be protected. Your aura probably won't even go below your feet. Okay, so we always come back to grounding. That's how I teach. Everything goes back to grounding. If you lose your way, you go back to grounding. Okay. Now, most people who are targeted or are working in this higher kind of level of energies, you might find that you've got mental health issues. So just want to stress, I'm not a mental health professional. Mental health stuff can be projected onto you as well, or you can be, really empathic and tuning into that energetic field. And that's a lot of information to take in. So if you have health conditions or mental health conditions, please seek out a qualified professional to assist you with that. Okay, and it's really important as well. Even as we get into the super soldier community, we have therapists in our community who are aware and can support you, like Misha Johnston at starseedawakening.org. She has groups running, like 16 groups a month for all different topics. You can go on her website. She has a questionnaire as well, so you can answer her questionnaires. So she's a very experienced experiencer. She's been around a long time. Her targeting and experiences started when she was young. You know, she's been through lots of different programs, works with ET, she channels. So I do recommend Misha Johnston. I don't go to the groups all the time, but I do go as and when I need to, like most people in the community. We kind of dip in and out, so see how you feel. But of course, in the everyday world, there's different kind of groups there as well that you know, there's support available. So please do know that you have support available. I'm in the UK, so I can't signpost everybody around the world. Do your own research. This is a journey of research and discovery. You need to take control of this, okay? So we're still on step 2, energy hygiene. So we start with meditation with the purpose to go deeper into your memories that are held in your chakras, your energy centers, and the fascia of your body. So your body, your skin, your cells, it holds memory. Your chakras, your spinning wheels of energy, they hold memories. And the way the chakras generally work is that if you're in a particular situation and say you're feeling very out of control, somebody's standing over you when you're a child and you're being told and shouted at, your solar plexus is going to be really upset, and it's going to say, oh my God, what's happening here? My power's being taken away from me. And it's going to remember that snapshot memory. And you're going to react like the child in the classroom getting told off by the teacher. So I do chakra empowerments for women, which is by Lisa Erickson. She's got a great book out there, and I've kind of built that into my chakra wellness workshop. So we work on some of her concepts, and I've expanded it in slightly different ways, working with crystals and color therapy and stuff like that. But it comes back to the memories held in the chakras. So what do you want to be installed there? Do you want it to be a memory from when you were 5 years old? Or do you want it to be a memory from when you were in a trauma-based mind control project? Right? Or do you want it to be something positive so that you can know that if I'm ever in a situation where somebody's shouting at me, I can say, hang on, no, I can present my argument, I can stand in my power, I am sovereign, I am free, yeah, and stand up for yourself. So one of the first things we need to do to get your energy hygiene back into balance is to kind of reevaluate your body, and meditation is a great way to do that. So you're developing a relationship with your body to bring you back into that calm state, because your body can't heal if you're always in fight, flight, freeze. It's just not going to happen. My physical body, I've been in relationships that have been engineered, and things like that. My body has put on layers and layers of protective kind of fat in the last 20 years. So I used to be very, very small, like a pixie, and then bad relationships and bad habits and trauma and wounding has all come in, and my body's like wrapped itself up in lots of layers, right? And now as I kind of break away and stand back into my sovereignty, my body's able to take a deep breath again and say, okay, let's kind of repurpose, let's reevaluate. Okay, so so sometimes when you go for a massage and they're working on your body, they're working on your muscle memories and the fascia and everything, and you come away feeling awful because trauma's being worked on. Yeah, trauma's being worked on, release. You might get a headache, you might have these detox symptoms because you're working through what's been held in the body. So when we see our body as a sacred vessel, our body is much more than a suit, it's a sacred vessel. Yeah, our body is within our being and it's a part of us. Yeah, so even though we are much, much bigger, this is something that we need to talk to. Yeah, it's kind of it's its own being in a way. Okay, so the next step of your meditation, first of all, conscious meditation for me really works, and I did a full year of conscious meditation, and at the time I was in a group with Felix Hyde. Felix does quantum energetic restructuring and things like that, and he's recorded for this group meditations, and I listened to one or two every single day for a year. And the meditation was basically running recalibrations through the body, calling in quantum lights, calling in extra healing, and just working on a really deep level in the 0 point. And that really helped to upgrade me quite quickly. But it was the devoted practice of allowing my body to rest and reset and reconnect with the elements and the colors and the frequencies that really helped my body. Okay, so whatever you want to do, it doesn't have to be meditation that's just silent. It can be silent Zen meditation that's really beneficial. Start small, work up to it. I listen to a lot of the Soul Matrix meditations, which is Steve Noble, and he's on Spotify. He's very well respected. He uploads new meditations all the time. Some are 30 minutes, some are like an hour, but these are recalibrations as well. And at the very beginning, the first thing he will always do is start to call in your team in spirit of the highest light and resonance, and he calls in archangels, and each archangel has got they have like an ability, and they have a flame, and they have a color. So it really starts to build up your know-how, your gnosis of how to protect yourself, yeah, and how to work with these energies. Okay, so I still listen to Steve Noble all the time, because I just love it, and a lot of my stuff is kind of based on some of his techniques as well, because I find it really beneficial. Now this year and last year, one of the best things I was able to do was connect to my heart chakra and ask questions. Okay, when you start to look at your heart chakra as the first eye, that this is a memory center as well. It's a psychic memory center. So a lot of people believe that before the third eye was activated, the heart was the mind. Yeah, that the heart has its own mind. And when you think about your aura and how you walk into the room, your aura walks in before you. So your heart chakra is walking into the room ahead of you and sensing and feeling and letting you know if it's safe. So the heart chakra holds a lot of information, yeah? And what I was able to do a couple of years ago, somebody came into my wellness studio that I had at the time, and I had an instant connection with this person, this man, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? I'm not interested in twin flame because I don't believe in the twin flame thing. I'd rather connect with my higher self as my twin flame, not an extra person. So in the end, I had to go into meditation and literally drop into my heart and say, who is this person? How are we connected? And I got a vision, and I got a vision from my heart, and I saw this man and I saw myself, but I was actually a small boy, and we were in a room that was just full of scrolls and telescopes, and each window was looking out into space. And I felt I could see my admiration for this person, but I could also feel my longing to be seen, to be noticed, to be loved. So this guy was either my father or my mentor in that lifetime. So energetically through my heart, I was able to connect in to a lifetime, to a shared Akashic record, a memory of the two of us. And once I was able to understand how the boy was feeling, those energies passed through my body. Like it had, that longing to be seen, that longing to be loved. It passed through my body. It was as if all it needed was attention. And then the connection to this fella started to slip away. Okay, so things come into your life because there's karmic contracts, there's soul contracts there, and sometimes it's to end a cycle, learn a lesson, or to go more into a positive karma to allow yourself to receive and things like that. But what I had with him was kind of a negative karmic lesson in a way, but it was me also learning to be comfortable. That I didn't need his approval, I didn't need his love, that I was great as I was, kind of thing. That was kind of the lesson that kind of came forward on that one. So the heart holds a lot of memory and wisdom. So ask questions, yeah? Open the heart and ask questions. So the heart, the body, the chakras, they all remember things that you've been through, even when your mind doesn't. Now, if you're in these programs, these super soldier programs or military abduction programs, you will have gone through mind wipes, okay? Multiple repeated mind wipes. And in my ACIO file, it makes reference to one of my last mind wipes in this physical body that was so aggressive that they were trying to kill me rather than just wipe my mind. And they were so angry, the bad guys, that they thought I had some knowledge about them, so they were trying to wipe it from my memory, from my existence. At the end there, and they thought, we just can't, we've got to try and kill. The only thing that kept me alive was my Lyran DNA, right, which is very strong. And and I was literally told by Peter the Insider that I'm lucky to be alive, I'm lucky to be able to walk, I'm lucky to be able to have a conversation with people, because what was documented was so aggressive that I shouldn't have survived. The only reason I did survive was because of my DNA makeup, my abilities or whatever. Okay, so the memories and lifetimes that you've forgotten or were taken from you hold trauma and wounding. So these trauma-based mind control techniques are used to fracture your mind in childhood. Yeah, it generally doesn't happen to adults because it's harder for adults to take the programming. It generally starts in childhood, like age 3, 5, 6, whatever. So anything that's happened to create altered personalities, to create altered versions of you, to create clones, it started when you were young, and that's quite hard to stomach when you first start to dig into this kind of stuff. Yeah. Me personally, it started, I've been told it started when I was in vitro, when I was in the womb, that my DNA was tampered with, and I was taken at age 3 and 5, and definitely taken at age 8 into Montauk and things like that, or earlier. And once you start to hear that kind of stuff, it becomes really, really uncomfortable, because you're thinking, well, how did this happen? Why didn't my family protect me? How is that possible? It's possible because the bad guys have got advanced technology, and they can literally take you from your bed at night, take DNA samples, right, and then put you back in the exact moment they took you. And I know it sounds outrageous, but this is the truth that I believe, okay, that I believe I've experienced as well. Once they have your DNA, they can literally make clones of you and tune into your soul essence to run the clone as well. So I don't know how that works, but I know that I have had more clones made of me than a lot of people. So I have a whole echo chain of 20 million clones at one point, and I've been working with friends in the community to reduce that down. And you're thinking, why would they make so many? Why would they do that? And it's because of our DNA ability, because of our psionic ability. So I'm going to tell a story in a minute about something that's happened recently, which kind of links into that. So the bad guys do not always have the right DNA to operate advanced ancient technology, but we do, and that's why they covet us. That's why they try and use us, and they will trick you into consenting, and you'll do this without realizing. So, and as long as you've consented, that must be fine, right, in the universe. But you'll be tricked into consenting in your dream state, or with something that you sign up for online. Perhaps there'll be terms and conditions in there. I don't know where that's come from. But yeah, so we get tricked into agreeing to contracts all the time, every day, millions over your lifetime. So just let that process for a while. And once you start to get more advanced in your meditation or in your sovereignty statements, you can start to say, I void out these contracts. Yeah, I do not consent. And actively do the stamping in your mind of voiding out contracts. I work in the Akashic Records. I work with pendulum alchemy to clear oaths, vows, agreements, contracts, covenants, spells, hexes, curses, and promises made. That's one of the statements I use that relate to whatever's coming up in that particular session for my clients. Yeah, so in our timeline, in other versions of you, sometimes we make a vow that is so powerful it carries through all of your lifetimes. Yeah, you make an oath, you make an agreement, you make a declaration. So I had a channel session with Soma Ra. It was actually for my sister Suzanne, but we were there at the same time because we were away on a course together. And Soma started to tune into a lifetime that Suzanne and I had shared together in France. And we were both male, and Suzanne was kind of like a lord of a manor type situation, but there was a battle, and I was the brother, and I was defending my lord. But on the battlefield, she was either stabbed or hit with an arrow. I don't know, but my sister died, and in that moment, that version of me literally called out, and I could see it, called out to the gods and made an unbreakable vow to never leave her side, because the grief, the devastation was too much. And when you've got that kind of energy, and you make a statement like that, you are creating vows, contracts, oaths that transcend time and space. Okay, so when psychics look at me and my sister together, they can see that we've had multiple lifetimes together, and in this lifetime she's older than me, but in other lifetimes I've been older than her, you know, so we're in this cycle, this pattern together. Anyway, so yeah, so just know that we are fractured and we're put into covert programs. So whether these are with ETs or they're with the government, I kind of think they're one and the same. I think they work together. Some people are put on lots of different places. Anyway, so just remember that this is a healing journey of discovery that we're taking, okay? When you get this information, you need time to process it. So if I do a session with, say, Sean Bond, which I try to do monthly, I'll take 4 weeks to process that information, to feel into it, to write down questions, to explore and research what he said. I'll re-watch that video 4 or 5 times in that month. Yeah, so I take time to process that information, and this is one of my top tips. This really has helped me progress a lot in 2025. So yeah, I've made a lot more progress in 2025 than I have in the previous years. This year it's been rapid, but I've devoted my time, my energy, my focus, my money. Yeah, so I've spent thousands of pounds in the last few years trying to uncover who am I really. And you know what? There's always more to learn. There's always more to know. Yeah, there's always other avenues or dimensions or realities to go into, because you are just not one being. You're not. You are multidimensional. You are aged. You are, you know, you are ancient. Okay, you are older than you can even fathom. Okay, so as you remember, we must learn to heal and integrate this information. And as we're doing that, we're thinking, okay, does this make sense to me? Is this true to me? A psychic has told me this, or some man that I can't see, but I can hear his voice, who's apparently got files that I can't see, but he can tell me about. ACIO. You know, they've told me this, and this about me. Does it make sense? Does it feel true? And this is when your discernment comes into play, because there could be, I'm giving 1,000 pieces of information, and out of that 1,000, maybe only 600 pieces will resonate with me right now. Doesn't mean it won't resonate in the future, because my particular kind of mind and lineage seems to be unlocking as I go. But taking that time to really think, does this make sense? And if it makes sense, what does it really mean? And how is that usable? How would I have made use of that ability or that knowledge? Yeah. So how does it work for me, basically, knowing this? How does it benefit me, right, in a way? So there's a reason to everything that's going on. And if you've got a piece of information, you think, okay, now that I know this, how does it change me? What am I healing? So this is all shadow work, okay? Everybody hates to do shadow work, but I like to do shadow work in the light, in the bright, and really just reflect on, okay, well, what would that mean? And let's research, let's have a look, and let's look at images, and let's talk to somebody else. So I work with Christy Campbell, CC33, and I'll tell her what I see or what I've been told. And then together, because when two psionics get together, it amplifies the energies. Together we can explore the memories, we can go a bit deeper. You know, she might suggest something and then I'll say, okay, does that make sense? And it might help me recall more. So these journeys of discovery are quite important, but it always starts with you alone, okay? Write down what you can, feel into it. Does it make sense, right? Before you start kind of connecting with others, because don't forget, this is trauma, and we don't want to project our trauma onto somebody that might not be ready. That's really important. And there'll be people that you talk to that just haven't got any information for you right now, or they can't understand what you're saying, or maybe it's too close for comfort. Yeah, maybe you're going to trigger something in them by you revealing what's going on with you. So for me personally, it's been important to work with people who offer specific services, who I feel comfortable and safe with, who I do my research into that person, and I look to see, is there a soul flame connection there? Okay. So I work with certain people, and then I evaluate the information they're giving me, and I evaluate the information that we've created or recovered or felt into together. Okay, so So we're deepening our connection to meditation, to grounding, to healing, but also to our senses. Yeah, so your sight, your sound, your taste, your touch, your psychic abilities. So you're going to start to develop your clair senses as you go on this journey. Now you might already feel like you're psychic, which is great, and but you may be a traditional psychic of working with the spirit realm or working with oracle cards. So I'm an oracle, I work with oracle cards. But when we start to look into these multidimensional things, we're actually working with the psionic side of things, and that is a military term for actively using these abilities to do something. Okay, so a lot of people in the super soldier community might have plasma abilities to project plasma from their eyes or plasma from their heart or things like that, or you might be able to project into that other person's body to control their body, or a sound, like I do sound tones, or something like that. So when you start to think that way, you're getting your super abilities in a way. That's your psionics. Okay, so you're going to start by activating your clair senses and just your general elemental senses. So when I work with the earth, I know that that's grounding. Okay, and I can feel it. That's my physicality. Yeah, that's my safety and my security. When I work with air energy, I know that's all about communication. Yeah, it's about a flowing energy around me. It's about my mind, it's about my voice, it's about my ears, what I'm hearing. That's the air energy. So I tie in those senses into my air elementals. When I work with fire energy, okay, again, we've got kind of earth energy coming in, but we've got the fire of transformation. And my lower chakras, my root, my sacral, my solar, I consider them to be fire chakras as well. Fire, I work with the violet flame a lot. And on this journey, you probably will start to develop an association with at least one flame on this journey. Yeah, so I work with many flames. So when we work with water, we're talking about our emotions, we're talking about the flow of energy, our flow of our pathway, but primarily we're talking about the heart's emotions. Yeah, when we work with water energy, water is extremely cleansing, and water is a fantastic ally on this trauma healing journey. Okay, the other tool I use is laughter yoga. So I'm a certified laughter yoga leader, and I can tell you now, it gets very dark on this journey of discovery, and you will have highs and lows. So learning to laugh without needing something to make you laugh is an important skill to have, because once you start doing those laughter yoga exercises, you start to get so much energy pumping through your body. You're clearing out stagnant energy from your lungs and from your aura and things like that, and your body's starting to produce happy hormones, serotonin, and all that starts to pump through your blood, and everything starts to refresh. So for me, laughter yoga got me through a very, very difficult time, and I did the training online with the founder in India. So for me, it was like 2 a.m. For them, it was 8 a.m. or something like that. So there's me having to suddenly be like, ha, 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 and laughing away. And like my neighbors are probably thinking, what on earth is going on next door? But having that ability to be able to just switch and think, okay, no, I'm getting targeted right now. What the hell is this? I'm going to empower myself by using these techniques. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to sing. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to make a racket. I'm going to cleanse my energy. So I'm going to bring sound in a lot more. Yeah. So laughter yoga is a combination of sound, frequencies, energy, movements that we do. So that's there on my debrief page as well. Now, working with crystals is important. So anything that is red, black, brown, I consider to be grounding stones, yeah, to really stabilize your energy, connect you into the earth. I've got here, like, this is aquamarine, so this is kind of water frequency energy. So anything blue, light blue, is higher heart and throat. Yeah, you are going to need some water cleansing. Quantumly, working with aquamarine, ethereal energy, it's a beautiful wash through. I will be putting on some short videos on my debrief page with a liquid light cleanse and things like that. I think I've still got them somewhere. Now the heart, when you're working with the heart and your connection to others, you're working with that more pink connection, that compassion connection. When you're working with your heart for you, it's the green emerald energy, but just see how you feel. So this is morganite, and morganite is very soothing for the heart, and chances are you're going to need it, because this is not an emotional happy healing journey. This is a deep emotional journey of releasing. Okay, so seek out somebody you feel comfortable with. If you wanted to book in with me, you can always do that, and I can talk you through healing the body. But just for the step 2, which is our energy hygiene, find something that works for you. You don't have to listen to anything I say. I have my personal practices, I teach, but you might find something that, you might just like to go for a walk in the park each morning where you're connecting with the elements there. You might like to go for a swim or a run, or you do sports, and that's perfect. Anything that gets your body moving is going to be good for you, okay? So just work, be kind to your body, go slow, especially with meditation and memories and recall. We always want to know more. We always want to know, does anybody remember us, okay? And that can get really tricky because we need to process the information we've got already. And in a way, you need to do your own groundwork and preparation so that when you do meet somebody that you remember, you can say to them, I think I remember you from this program, or do you connect to that program? So once you do more research, in a way, you've got a better connection with that person. And from personal experience, I found it's the people that I did not want to connect with are the ones that I'm actually connected to. And that's because our connection was based in trauma. So of course, when I look at them, it's uncomfortable. Of course, when I look at them, I'm thinking, God, I don't want to watch that person. I don't like the sound of their voice. Of course, because it's based in trauma, right? So why would you? You're not going to be ready to spend time with somebody who you've got a traumatic history with, right? So this is healing. But if you've got a trauma bond, when you heal, they start to heal, okay? And you can meet them halfway. But you are not always going to want to be talking to or seeing somebody that you've been in a space program with or an abduction program with, where there's been trauma and wounding and awful things, okay? So it may be tempting to go out there and reach out to everybody in the community, but first we need to get ourselves grounded and stable. Otherwise, your energy could be triggering to others, okay? And I've probably triggered quite a few people in the last year of coming out quite publicly. And, I'm sorry, that's not something I'm aware of. I don't have an emotional capacity to even know when I do these things, okay? But there's probably plenty of people in the community that think, oh God, not her, I'm avoiding her, or she's loads of rubbish, or whatever. But just know that there's always a reason why either you're really drawn to somebody or you're not. In crystal therapy, the crystal that you don't like is the crystal that you generally need the most. Okay, again, so it's based in trauma and wounding. Your body's saying, no, 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 I don't want that crystal, because if I get that crystal, I'm going to have to deal with that event that happened that needs healing. Yeah, so there's be an element of your ego that's trying to protect you in a way. Okay. So step 3 on my anchorhaven.co.uk/debrief page is research. Research is so important. And what I've done on my page is I've started to put a few PDF downloads articles there for you that I've just created. It may or may not resonate. It's just there as a starter. So have a look at the page, but go deeper with your own research. We all have amazing abilities, and there's some fantastic researchers out there in our community, and we kind of all have our own specialties. So for me, in the space program, even though there's super soldier versions of me, there's also geneticist versions of me. So right now it's easier for me to deal with the geneticist versions and look into cloning and things like that. That's where I want to go. Because if I look at the super soldier one, that takes me closer to the twin that I have the trauma with, and that's obviously not that easy. So he's got his kind of own way of going, and I've got my own way of going. So you lean into your specialty that feels comfortable at the time. So research, question everything, absolutely everything. Do not listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. Question everything, okay? Question everything that resonates with you and try and go deeper within. Question even things that don't resonate with you. Thinking, okay, well, why isn't that resonating? Why don't I like that idea? Why don't I like that person? Is it based in something? Is it based in trauma? Or is it just rubbish? Yeah, question everything. And then start to connect with people. Once you feel more stable, once you've got some good hygiene practices in place, once you know your energy is quite balanced, then start to reach out, then start to watch people's videos, get into groups or watch the podcast, get into the chat and things like that. So I love the Typical Skeptic podcast. Yeah, I've been watching it for a while, and it's awakened me in so many ways that I couldn't have even expected. I've been drawn to people. I've been, you know, pulled away from people. There's been nuggets of information that's activated me. So Rob Khalil has got a really varied podcast, and he's very neutral. He'll bring in people from all over the world with varying viewpoints. So it's a really great resource, and there's loads of good resources out there, hopefully like this one. Okay, so so take your time. Okay, take your time in the community, but also do your research about who you want to book in with. Okay, it is important at some point when you're ready to book in with people who specialize in supporting you through these type of journeys. So things like quantum healing, hypnosis techniques, and regression. A lot of people do that. Now, I don't personally do that yet. The closest I've got to that is a vision quest with Sean Bond, and we did it live on his channel a few weeks ago, and right now it's the 5th of September 2025. Because I can't fully be hypnotized, and I have tried, but because I've been in the programs, I've got like a Winter Soldier level programming there, so you need to have certain access or frequency or tone to get me through blocks that are in place. Yeah, so hopefully I'll get to the point where I can do that with Drago Reed at fractaloflight.com, or somebody else that I'm drawn to at the particular time. So, yep, so support the community. Now, a lot of us are targeted, our finances are targeted. Today, I went on to an online food shopping service, which in the UK is called Iceland, and I did like a £50 shop, which is kind of all I've got to last us the week. It's not a lot, you don't get a lot for that at all. And then when I went to put the payment in, I clicked on the PayPal, and the PayPal's linked to a bank card. So I clicked on that, you know, I got the notification on my phone that it has been blocked on my bank. I go back to the shopping website and it says, sorry, your delivery is expired, and there's no sign of the order. So then I had to spend 40 minutes calling every different service to find out what's going on here. And I realised this is just targeting. I'm being targeted. So there was absolutely no reason for my delivery slot to expire, because I'd only been like 15 minutes and it's like an hour slot. So I know that some kind of targeting had taken place there. And then when I managed to get the money back after a few phone calls back into my bank, so I could try again to do the food shop, which is a home delivery, because of course I'm not fully mobile, so I still need things delivered. And so then I go to do the payment, and then it's stalling and stalling and stalling on PayPal. And I literally had to stand in my sovereignty and say, I do not consent to my finances being tampered with. I do not consent to any handling that's coming in right now. And I had to literally declare that I was going to strip people of their powers if they continued to target me in this way, because this is my food shop, you know what I mean? My son went back to school today. And it did go through in the end, but very, very slowly. Okay, and that's never happened to me before on that website. My internet is a good connection right now and stuff like that. So I really don't know. So sometimes another way I get targeted is visibility. Okay, so I could put 10 posts a day out there and you would not see them. I could do videos after video after video and you won't see it unless you follow me. And if you do follow me, you might not even get the notification, okay? So I spend hours every day doing social media, website, blogging, whatever it is, and really there's no visibility, and that is targeting. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with my content, it's generally okay, my graphics are good, you know, I use the right hashtags here and there and stuff like that. I'm on loads of different platforms, there's no reason why I shouldn't have a good following. But on Facebook I've been stuck at 1,200 followers for about 3 years, and that's not normal. Instagram, I was stuck, and it took me about 18 months to go up 400 followers on Instagram. So I kept getting the followers and then they drop away, getting and drop away. So there's always an element of shenanigans, okay? So support the community by booking sessions with people if you can, okay? If you can afford to do those sessions, then please do. If you can't afford to do the session, just reach out to them and say, you know, I would love to connect with you. Can we do a deal? This is what I can offer right now. Is there something that you can offer me in exchange? Because I really want to get into this particular topic or whatever, yeah? So there's plenty of people that are in a similar situation where they just don't have the money coming in. Yeah, we don't have regular clients clients all the time. Other people might be like, yay, this is great, I've got loads of people. And then 80% of the community are like, I'm dying here. Yeah, I can't pay my rent. I've got direct debits bouncing left, right, and center. Or for me, it's just enough finances. That's what I get. It's just enough to pay, and it comes in just at the right time and things like that. So I know that restriction is there because I'm a freaking alchemist. There's no reason why I shouldn't be abundant. Yeah, you know, I'm a witch and things like that. There's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't be abundant, except it's the targeting. So I've been kind of placed in suburbia, in a mundane life with mundane everything, and that's just part of my targeting program. So I'm in a targeting program that's called the TIRAP, which is Targeted Individual Research Advanced Projects, and this is one of the very old, very first targeting programs that gives you an idea of how old I am in the system, that I've been cloaked away for such a long time. So yeah, so they mess with you. So if you can support people and help increase their visibility, help them with their finances, they're really going to appreciate it. Okay, so if you have that, please do. I always try and book in with people, you know, financially to make an introduction if I can. And then after a while I might say, do you know what, do you think we could do swaps, or is it okay if I only have half a session, so because I've only got this much, or can I do a deal with you and do it live stream so that we've both got it on our channel? So yeah, so just be creative, but please know that as targeted individuals, we get hit with the health, wealth, brain fog, everything. It's really bad, and you may have experienced that yourself, so I'm sure you can relate. Okay, so take time with any information you receive from others. This is really important because that information, first of all, you need to discern, is it true to me? Then you need to think, okay, I've got this information now, what emotions are attached to it? Now, in my ACIO video, which is on Jessica Ariel Morocco's channel, there's 2 videos of me, one with me and Jessica, and one with me, Jessica and Peter, and I look grey. So the information coming in resonated with me. My body was shaking. I looked grey. I felt sick at some of it because I knew it was true. And there was a few other things that didn't make it into the main video I didn't really resonate with, and it got cut out anyway, which is fine. But you know, a lot of the core stuff, the questions I had was answered. I was on the right track with my kind of discerning anyway. I'd already seen TV shows which I resonated with, and I'd already started to question, is that me? Is that character based on me? No, right? And then I found out, yes, that character was based on you, and you know, you're in a program that TV show was based on that program and stuff like that. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. Okay, so take time with whatever information you receive, because you're going to need to do the healing work on it. And if you don't, you're just going to stall your process. Yeah, you're not going to make progress on it. You're going to keep going around in circles. You're going to keep wondering, what's wrong with me? Who am I? Why isn't this? Why aren't I progressing and everyone else is? It's because there's emotional healing that needs to be done. Okay, the more you do the emotional healing and make your body feel safe, the easier it will be for you to start to unlock your memories, the memories that are held in your mind, in your body, in your chakras, in your energetic field, and things like that. Okay, so just know that you will be tempted to do loads of courses, right? I'm guilty of doing millions of courses all the time. And start off by doing your own research. Yeah, and if you're really drawn to a course and you keep coming back to it and you know it's going to benefit you in multiple ways, then yeah, do the course. But don't go signing up for here, there, and everything. Yeah, because you just make sure, because you'll lose interest quickly. When we start this discovery journey, we're very rapid sometimes. I know I am. So yeah, so just remember to spend, the best investment you can do is spend time with your body. And I didn't believe that for a long time, but it is so true. So please sit down, do the quiet work, do the journaling, do the meditation, do the questioning, and heal your body. Okay, and healing your body can look many things. It could be nurturing, it could be bathing, it could be getting out in the sunlight, it could be working with Reiki practitioners or therapists or whoever, whatever works for you. Okay, I offer multiple services, so you can always check out my website for the things that I do, but I'm sure there's plenty of people in the community that you will resonate with. Okay, one of the biggest resources that I worked with in the last 2 years was ascensionglossary.com. And this is a website that Lisa Renee has created, and it's like Google for starseeds and galactics. So research words that you hear, learn about galactic history. This is more important than you realize. So the Orion Wars was 20 million years ago, and it's likely you were there. Okay, and just pause with that for a second. 20 million years ago. Okay, so we're going much further back than Atlantis and Lemuria. We're going into multidimensional aspects of you who are ET and things like that. Yeah, have a look at Ascension Glossary and put in words that you're hearing people talk about. Just allow yourself to explore. I think sometimes you can just click on random things and it'll bring things up for you. But it talks a lot about the law of one on there as well. It talks about serves to self, serves to others, talks about dark programs and stuff. There's so much good information on ascensionglossary.com. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, obviously do your own research and find other things. That was the resource that really helped me upgrade my mind in the last couple of years. Okay, so step 4 at anchorhaven.co.uk/debrief. Okay, the step 4 for me is about empowerment. So it's really important to understand that you've made these soul contracts, and these soul contracts could be limiting you in all of your lifetimes. We've made these contracts with ETs, with aliens, which are on and off planet. We've made these soul contracts with government projects and other covert programs that you might not be aware of. And when we start to step into our empowerment and say, hang on, I didn't consent to any of that, you literally have the power to cancel out and void those contracts. Okay, but we're constantly being coerced into more. So this is like an ongoing program, but knowing that you have the authority, knowing that you've got the ability to claim back your power, to claim back your soul fragments, to claim back your essence, to void out contracts with your will, that is a big step in your empowerment. Okay, just have a drink. So step 4, or you can do these steps in any one, but I just thought this made sense. Realizing that you are a creator being, that you are a fractal of that God source energy, that prime creator galaxy or whatever, that you're multidimensional, and that you're much bigger than you realize. So you've got the power with your intentions, with your words, to change your world. Okay, now yes, there's interference coming all around us, and the more you start to step into your sovereignty, it's possible the more targeting you're going to get. It really depends on who you are, or what they believe you know or can do and things like that. Okay, but just know that when you start to take back your power, things will change for you. More memories may come, your body may feel different, you may start to even look a bit different and stuff like that. Now, there are lots of sovereignty statements out there, and the one I've put on the debrief page right now, I'm going to add more, is the I am statements by Blossom Goodchild. So it's I am the light, I am the love, I am the truth, I am. Now, I use this for protection, I use this for healing, I use this for commanding my energy as well. So I also work with the violet flame mantra because I'm a violet flame priestess. So I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am the violet flame freeing everyone. So when I do this, I call in the violet flame energies and I expand it out into my energetic field, into my room, clearing out any stagnant energy that's there, can expand it out into my community and so much more. So I work with the violet flame a lot. I do courses on the violet flame and healings of the violet flame as well. I also have a violet flame chakra, an energy center that sits on my brow here. That's a multi-dimensional portal. So when I work with the flames, I anchor them into this reality, and it benefits many, many people. So there's a few more resources that I'm going to add into the debrief page on my website. Now, step 5 is about being supported. So David Purcell and I are offering debrief sessions. But what I'm doing is there's a 15-minute introduction video first. So book in with me. It's just £10 for 15 to 20 minutes, and we can talk through and see if it makes sense, if it's something for you to progress into, because it really is like a high energy session, and you may get information that you're just not ready to hear. David and I are very blunt, and if David sees you in a particular way in a particular lifetime, he's just going to say it. Okay, and it might be that you're not emotionally ready. So that 15-minute consultation with me, to see if that's a possibility for us to do together, that's important, because I'm going to be able to give you tips and say, please check the debrief page, let's tune into your energy, what questions do you have? I may be able to answer them there and then, or we may decide to go deeper and for you to book in with that empowered session with me and David. So me and David get together, our energy is greatly enhanced, and we both have enhanced psychic abilities then, is what we've discovered working together for the last few months. So yeah, so on my page there's going to be a few more signposting references. I've already talked about Misha Johnston's starseedawakening.org. There's plenty of people in the community like Audrey Walters, who's Starseed Netlink on YouTube. She does sessions as well, so when you're ready to get into Galactic and Starseed and things like that, she's a great resource. She also has her Space School lessons on her YouTube, and she's got a book called Space School Lessons Volume 1, I think, as well. Personally, I work with Soma Ara, who's the Pleiadian child, the Pleiadian channel, and Soma was great in helping me discern what's right, what's true, giving me more information about my starseed lineage, talking to when I have strange experiences, galactic entities and stuff, then I generally book in with Soma. She can channel through a lot of information from the Pleiadian, so I also have Pleiadian DNA. I'm a whole mixing pot, being emissaries we generally are. And yeah, so I work with Soma because she's psychically we bonded and connected, and we've got a soul connection going back to Atlantis. And then I work with David Purcell, and David Purcell is a really advanced psionic. He has a lot of memory from programs, generally Dark Fleet and Solar Warden. So, but David has this great ability to be able to take what you're saying and tell you why and what and how and where and things like that. It's amazing. So when David and I work together, we're able to bounce off each other and tune into things and prompt each other to get that clarity. But again, this is an empowered session, and you need to be at a certain point in your journey to make sense of it. Otherwise, it's just going to be too much. And there's always a danger when we start to do this kind of healing of psychosis. It's just too much information. I can't process it. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's happening. And that could happen when you're not balanced, you're not grounded. Okay, so really do use your discernment. So I've put a link to the Law of One on there from Ascension Glossary. I've already put a couple of PDF downloads. One's about energy hygiene, cord cutting. One's energy hygiene, grounding with the elemental energies. And then I've got an article which is just a brief overview about targeting in MK Ultra. I've made an article about Nat Waffin, the Dark Fleet, and another one about Project Ibis, but I do plan to put more in. So these are just free resources to start you off. So I'm not the authority on these topics, but I have connections to these topics, shall we say. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly talk about something that's happened to me this week. And let me just find it. So this week I was working with David Purcell, and we were doing some healing together for David, and he was able to bring forward memories from an altar that knew me as a child in another realm of existence. And it's really important when we use that type of wording that you don't try and put time and space onto these things, because it just doesn't make any sense. So there are multiple realms of existence happening at the same time with lots of versions of me. Okay, so he connected into an altar of mine, or a version of me called Angelique. And I did talk about Angelique a little bit on my last diary on episode 9, but then after that things got so much deeper. Okay, so basically we discovered that Angelique was connected to Stargates, and there was a network of Stargates that was being used for corruption, for nefarious projects and things like that. And when I reported it to a Galactic Council member, they were absolutely furious and proceeded to shut down that Stargate network and those programs. Okay. And in doing that, we were able to release the version of me that was holding points together in time and space, kind of timelines. Okay, so what I discovered, I'm just going to read to you what I've discovered about who am I and who is Angelique, and it'll kind of make sense of what was going on in that thing that we had to do great healing. There was a bit of a collective reset as well that happened a few days ago, so it's affected quite a few of us. Okay, so one thing I discovered that I'm the primary self in this incarnation, and my spiritual mission is linked to anchoring in light. And we kind of knew that because I'm called AnchorHaven, so that's kind of like a subconscious came forward. So my mission's anchoring light, rebalancing energies, and guiding others through multidimensional healing. So in this context, AnchorHaven is not only a healer and experiencer, but also a galactic stabilizer. And this was discovered when we were working with Angelique. So someone whose DNA, my energetic field, hold codes that support planetary and interdimensional convergence. Okay, now before we had that experience, I would never have described myself in that way, but this is what's come forward, and this is how I've been described. So my Celtic DNA is highlighted as amplified in that particular altar, Angelique, which suggests the lineage that ties into the Earth Grid guardianship. So I've been told that I've got 12th day Danann DNA, which links back into the elven otherworld, that kind of thing, being able to open up portals and realms of existence, and also ancient star-linked bloodlines as well. So even though it looks like I'm fragmented with the altar Angelique, it's not actually a fragment. I was multi-positioned across densities, operating different planes simultaneously. So Angelique was just another version of me that was also anchoring in a timeline. Okay, so Angelique emerges not as a fractured personality, not as an alter, but as a split imprint of me, created voluntarily. Okay, she came forward because it was needed in another timeline density to anchor two parallel missions at once. It was as if she's holding together two different timelines and becoming an anchor for that point of reality, from the 6th dimension to the 60 to 40. So originally, just plug in my phone. So originally I thought, when I was tuning into Angelique's energy, I kind of discovered that she was created on Mars as a clone of me. She had super soldier programming and that kind of thing. She was connected to Stargates. But later I realized that she was trapped on the moon. She was kind of being taken advantage of on the moon for these nefarious programs that were going on, because she holds those energies of the galactic activator, but also a stabilizer node for the galaxy. Okay, so Angelique, the other version of me, her role was a bit co-opted by external forces, like colonies or programs or gatekeepers that wanted to use her power to manipulate Stargates. And the original sense I got was about extending the reach of the Stargate. But when my friends went into it, the Stargate was kind of bouncing off other planets for some kind of smuggling network or something. I have no idea. And anyway, so Angelique's re-emerging at that point in time when we did the healing for David, it marks the release of a collapsed timeline, okay? A shard of me that's multidimensional and is now reintegrating. So I was able to call her back. And instead of just reintegrating into me, like some of the alters just kind of come into my mind and I just get their memories back and they've become part of me, she's literally side by side with me. So I've tried to break this down, what actually happened with myself and Angelique and why it's important. So this might be a bit kind of like, because I'm still trying to feel into this. So both me and Angelique are tied to portal and vortex DNA, which we already know. And we act as living beacons or nodes in the galactic network, supporting dimensional gates and planetary density transitions, okay? The galactic lineage, the strand family that I'm within, is connected to timeline stabilization during collapse points in an older matrix. And it's a reactivation of Angelique's energy that reboots my path, but also everybody else that's in that galactic stream. So the people that I was working with are all connected, and quite a few others are coming forward and saying, something's happened to me, I've just got a big flood of memories. What's that about? So the current mission, it's not just that I'm on, it's not just about personal healing, it's about collective kind of node recalibration, like timeline recalibration. Just kind of see, yeah, it's part of a larger field of existence. So it's a reality convergence. It's quite hard for me to kind of integrate at the moment. So as I talk about this, my throat is getting squeezed and stopped to try and stop me getting out this information, but I will persist. Okay, so upgrades and embodiments. So through the reintegration with me and Angelique essence, memory is coming back of lost agreements, DNA crystallization is rethreading, strong energetic filtering and defense is coming online for me and Angelique's energies. So I'm moving more into truth, so I'll be able to discern people straight away. I'm moving and dissolve out distortions around me. And I had a dream the other day where I was kind of violated in my dream, and normally I don't think I would have remembered, but I woke up straight away and I was like, what the hell was that? Yeah, and I was able to say no, 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 no. So basically, doing that healing with David, who he and I have a soul flame connection, obviously. Excuse me, I was able to reintegrate a part of me that I had forgotten existed, a part of me that had a really important role and was being used by the dark forces for their own agenda, okay, allegedly. So being a galactic emissary and stabilizer whose DNA is multidimensional and anchoring in planetary grids during shifts, that's an important part of what Angelique does, and myself. So even though it looks like, you know, when you get fragmented, you've got alters and aspects of you, she was actually a shard of me, a shard of my galactic self that kind of came from me to do a specific role. So that was a positive alter in a way, but together we're like this living convergence point apparently across the galaxy, to realign things. So I'm not really sure how that kind of works right now, but it's something that I'm going to spend the next month or so feeling into. So the kind of summary, the moral of the story with me and my alter Angelique, is still getting targeted here, is that just by healing somebody else, I was able to retrieve an aspect of me. So you never really know where your pieces of the puzzle are held, because that piece of the puzzle was held within David's energy. And that healing him allowed it to bring it forward to activate my awareness, which then we ended up having a whole team sorting out some kind of corruption that was going on via the moon, which I'm probably going to receive a lot of targeting for now. I know me and David started to receive active targeting again. So unfortunately, we won't be doing a video today like we'd originally planned. So our energy is a little bit unstable. So I was able to recover more information about Angelique. So she's, like me, holding the role of galactic stabilizer, an emissary who's got amplified Celtic DNA with a multi-dimensional presence, helping to anchor in planetary grid times during shift. So Angelique is a shard of my higher self in a way. And even though once she was on Mars and she was in a super soldier program, somehow she got kind of coerced into going into this moon project, and then she got stuck there being drained of her energy, kept as a prisoner. And even though they kept her quite nicely, we've had a few visions on that, she was still kept and stuck there, but now she's been freed, so we can start to integrate again. And together we are a living convergence point there. There's a reintegration, awakening stabilizer codes, restoring lost soul agreements, supporting planetary and galactic rebalancing during the reality of this convergence. So you might start to feel different, like I'm already feeling different. My spinal grid was recalibrated along with David's, and we hold energy differently now. It's a bit weird. But as you're going, you never know where that piece of the puzzle is coming from, okay? So use your discernment, and if you can, book in with somebody in the community, please do support their work. You can always book in with me at anchorhaven.co.uk/debrief. So there's plenty of information there. So have a look. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you.